Hi guys, welcome to This and That, where everybody has a story to tell, and today's story comes from Lisa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, first question we always ask is, what makes you a geek?
Oh God. I I've probably been a geek for a lot longer than most people. Took my kids to all the supercons back in when they were young. My oldest is 30 now. He was probably 8 when I took him the first time, and the younger one is 4 years younger. So I started them off. They are geeks. My husband is a geek. It just runs in the family.
Well, let me tell you, I appreciate you doing that because we need the next generation to
And let me
carry the
tell you,
mantle.
geeks are definitely good people.
Yes.
Good people.
I agree. I agree. And interesting people. And
Yes.
you are very interesting. You have a very special talent, and I've seen it firsthand. So you have a jewelry store. So tell us a little bit about what that is, how you do it, and your stuff.
Sure. So my full name is Lisa Zen, and my store name is Wearable Zen, kind of a play on words. My husband picked out the name, and I loved it. And so I guess, I started doing crafting back in my junior high school days. I would make things, bring them into school, and sell them to people for Mother's Day or for other things. And then I kind of lost interest in it when I was in my teenage years and my 20s, had better things going on. Then I started making, I actually went to a Native American powwow in Seminole Village, and I met this Native American named Yellowbird, and he was making traditional bone chokers, Native American bone chokers. So I wanted to learn how to make them. He invited me back to his studio. I went back there with him. He taught me how to make them. And I started with that. That was probably 32 or 33 years ago. And I would specifically make these buffalo bone chokers. I'm sure you've seen them before, maybe.
Mhm.
And I stayed friends with him for a lot of years. He was much older than me and unfortunately passed. And then I started making them with a little twist, adding charms to them, making them a little more modern. And then I got pregnant and I had my first child. And I thought, how can I have all these beads around my house when my kid's little? And so I put everything in a box and I put it away. Then I had my second child and I took everything in that box and I sold it to a friend of mine. And then I did, the parent thing. I did room mom, I did band parent, band president, did all these things, of course, while still working. And I guess when the kids were like 15, the youngest, I decided that it was time to pick up my beads again, and I started with a vengeance. And I still do some of the Native American buffalo bone chokers, and I do them as bracelets as well. But that certainly isn't my focus anymore. I started with just beaded necklaces, kind of whimsical, a little different than your average necklace. And then I got involved with a little steampunk influence, I call it. Use a lot of gears and bits and pieces, I call them. Literally, I find things everywhere and I think, what can I do with that? And I started doing the steampunk stuff that way. And then I got into, bracelets and earrings. And then I started doing guitar pick earrings and really got a great response from those. And now I make my own guitar picks and put them into earrings, make them earrings and necklaces as well. So I guess I have just kind of grown and expanded in a million ways. I started doing Comic Cons about maybe 5 years ago. And I wanted to do some themed stuff for the Comic Cons because even though my regular stuff sells, I wanted to really base my stuff on my clientele, which of course at the Super Cons and any Comic Con are people who like the themed, you know, superheroes, anime, Star Trek, Star Wars, all the, you know, the geeky stuff. So I started making these pocket watches. I would find a cool little pocket watch and I would add my touch to it. I would take the chain off. I would wire wrap pieces onto it. I would do, again, the gears, the kind of steampunk was how I started. And then it just took off from there. So I do, you know, my most recent pieces are probably a Sailor Moon piece, a one piece watch. What else do I have? Pretty much everything you can think of. Yes, so that's where I'm at right now. I started making collar chains now, again, with themes to them. And my newest thing that I'm making are what I call boot bangles, which are basically charms for the back of your boots or the side of your boots, if they're cowboy boots or Doc Martens, whatever you have that has a tab. So, yeah, I have grown and expanded.
You definitely have, and I have seen most of the stuff because we've met. I've seen you a few times in a couple of
Yes.
festivals when my band was playing at a festival, and then at a con when you were at a con and I attended it. And I've seen all of the stuff that you're mentioning. Now you did mention that you started, that somebody taught you how to do the bolt colors, but how'd you learn everything else?
It is just my passion, I guess. And I get an idea, I see something, and I take that idea and I make my own. You know, I play around with different things. Not everything is a success. You know, I'll make things because I have so much. I mean, literally all I do when I get home from my real job is sit on my couch, put on my television, open my bead box, and jump in. And, you know, there are times I'm driving home from work and I'm thinking, you know, oh, I just got this piece or I just got these beads and what am I going to do with them? And by the time I get home, I've already got ideas in my mind going.
That's
And,
awesome.
and people ask me all the time where I get my ideas. And honestly, I don't know. I just do.
Because they're very unique. Like the stuff that I've seen, that's what attracted me to having you on the show, is because it's not just that you have jewelry. A lot of cons sell jewelry and they're themed, but yours are definitely unique, definitely different, something that stands out and makes you look awesome. And because we're talking about that, I know you have some that you wanted to share with us. So maybe we can do that so that the viewers can also see what we're talking about. Because I know what we were talking about and you do, but let's show everybody. So you have something that you'd like to share.
Okay, I'll show you this. So this is, I'm going to try and get it in there right. This is a Sailor Moon watch. And I don't make the watch. I buy the watches and then I create the story around it, I say. And so this is the chain that
cool.
you would be wearing. And I know it's really hard to, and I'm also trying to get it in the picture, which is hard, like you said. There we go. There's a little better. So you basically take the end piece and you put it on your belt loop or on your pants. And this goes into your pocket. And then, so what you're seeing hanging out of your pants is this. So it's a timepiece. It's also, I call it jewelry for your jeans. So it's fun, just fun pieces. I do some, this one is a one-piece one. I don't know if you can see it. It's got the front on the watch, and then the pieces are all little hat, a little anchor, a pirate chest. So again, when you're wearing it, this is what you're seeing, and that's inside your pocket.
Very cool.
Again, I know it's a little hard to see it and imagine it, but I promise you, when I have them on the table, people will come over and look at them and they're like, oh, that's nice. And then I show them, because I'm always wearing one, I show them what it looks like on, and they're like, oh, because it's totally different feel when you see it on as to opposed to seeing it on the table.
For sure, for sure. I had the same issue, and you had to show me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's gonna look so cool. And now,
Yeah.
I know that the singer from At the Starlight wears them every show. She always has it, and this she has it, so I don't wear it because I don't want to look the same as her. But
Well,
she
I
wears
like to
it.
hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, she loves. We both love your stuff. Like we were. I remember there was one day when I bought the color, the new you mentioned.
Right, the
Hopefully
collar
you have
chain.
the color chain. Hopefully you have one there. And I had an important meeting, so I wore a shirt and I wore it. And when I came back and I happened to see her, and she goes like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" I'm like, "That's from Lisa. That's from Wearable Zen." And then she started looking at what cons is Lisa going to be in, so I can go buy me one. We couldn't find one, but I'm sure it's coming. So
Yeah, there's actually my next con. It's the first annual.
okay,
It's called the Toy Con. It's
oh,
in
okay,
Pompano Beach,
yes,
and it's May the 4th. May the
mm-hmm.
4th be with
Beautiful,
you.
perfect.
So yeah, it's an indoor event. It's the first one that they're doing. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
much about it other than it's a toy con. There's
Mm-hmm.
lots of people selling, the typical con type stuff there, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
be there. So that's my next con.
Okay, well, I'll be there too, so I will see you
And
there.
then SuperCon is the
SuperCon,
big
okay.
one. That'll in
Mm-hmm.
July. Yeah, I'll be at that one as well.
Okay, okay. And again, this is in Florida, so if you're watching and you're not in Florida, you will
Florida,
miss out.
sorry,
But
South Florida.
South Florida,
You can
correct.
always come down. SuperCon's 3 days.
So that's true. SuperCon is 3 days, and it's a
Yeah,
nice one. I've been, and
it
it's
is.
really fun. Since we're talking about cons, any funny stories or any really weird requests during cons of people that approached you at your booth?
Not really. The thing I get from cons that I have from when I took my kids when they were little is the total acceptance, which
Hmm.
is what makes me love the people that go, the vendors. There's no judgment. Nobody makes fun of anybody. You can come in dressed in anime. You can come in dressed in a Hello Kitty outfit. There's, like I said, no judgment. It is
Hmm.
just fun. Everybody is doing their own thing, and I love that.
Hmm.
And I do get a lot of requests for things, and if somebody asks me, even if I don't think I'll ever see that person again, I make sure I have it at my next show, because
Wow,
just in case, I want to make sure, or if they ask for it, somebody else might ask for it.
for sure.
I try and do special orders, custom orders. A lot of times, like most recently, somebody requested a meatloaf guitar pick, which I did not have any. So I went about making a couple of different options, and I gave her 3 different options to choose from. And she's like, well, oh my God, what are you going to do with the other ones? I'm going to put them out on my table and try and sell them. If I don't sell them, then I don't sell them. But
Hmm.
the idea is I want people to be happy with what they get from me, and I'm willing to go all out, which I do.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Do you happen to have any of the earrings, the pick earrings with you?
I do. I have a couple of different ones. So this one is a Green Day earring with a
Yeah,
little guitar
guitar.
hanging from it.
That's awesome.
So the story with the guitar picks is for 30 years, I owned and managed a record store in South
Okay.
Florida, actually 3 record stores. This one is a Boy Genius. I don't know if you can see that, the Boy Genius.
Yep.
I guess I should make it stop moving. And then, of course, I have to have the Taylor pick, because if not, little girls want to kill me.
Right.
Taylor. And then I go to the Sex Pistols. I do a little bit of everything. And those
Gotcha.
have the little 45 spindle on them.
That's
I just
awesome.
try and make them fun. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I owned a record store for almost 30 years. We had one in Pompano, one in Lauderhill, actually right next to Tate's Comics,
Okay.
and one in South Beach. And so my husband is a musician. My youngest child is a trumpet phenomenon. Went to University of Miami for music, full scholarship. And so I've got the music in me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't play, but I do listen all the time. And so I wanted to, incorporate my love of music into my love of jewelry. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started with the earrings, and then more recently I've added necklaces to it. And so that's how I got started with these earrings. And
Okay.
it's not always easy to find guitar picks with bands on them
Yeah.
out in the wild. So I recently bought a whole setup, and I'm upstairs now printing and sublimating guitar picks. I had a mom for Christmas who has her daughter is a musician, has a band called Killing in the Kitchen. And she asked me if I could make her guitar pick earrings with her daughter's band logo on it. And so again, because I like to go the extra mile, I made like 4 different options. And not only did she buy each one of them, but she ordered 13 other pair for everybody in her family.
That's awesome.
So, I can literally do anything on the guitar picks and put them however anybody asks for them. If they wanted them on boot bangles, I could do that. If they wanted them, however.
Do you have any of the other stuff that you do with the guitar picks, the necklaces or anything else?
I don't have
Okay.
them
Not
next to
yet.
me, right?
Okay. And do you
But
have any?
but
You can
go
just give
ahead.
us any pictures, and we can put the pictures. And do you happen to have
Sure.
the color chains?
Yeah,
'Cause
I have 2
those
different
are
color
so cool.
chains that I have here. So this one, again, my love of music, is 2 vinyl records with the skeleton hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just basically 2 pins, and then it has a little chain that comes down, and this one has a music note hanging on it. Some of
That's
them I add charms, some of them I don't. This one, what does it say on it? It says, "You can be yourself with me."
oh nice, very cool.
So yeah, I like to make sure everybody is included in everything. I have a non-binary child, so I want to make sure I always have something for everybody. And let me tell you, it means a lot to people when
Mm-hmm.
they see that you are an ally.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll try and do that, and make sure people know that.
Definitely. And I know that you told me, because you told me this, and so I brought the collar chain back home because I wanted to put it in my jacket. I don't wear a lot of color stuff, as you can tell, but you gave me the idea of just hang it from one side of your jacket to another, and it'll have, so that's, that was why I bought it. And then of course I wore it as a collar chain, and it looked great, and everybody loved
Right.
it.
I'll tell you what, when I start to make things, like the collar chains, I have an idea in mind of what it's going to be. And
Mhm.
then I start getting people who buy them and those collar chains. So my son wore it on a suit jacket. He wore one on the lapel and the other one on the pocket. I've had people tell me they wore them on jeans, on backpacks, on bags. So what starts as one thing turns into something else for
Mhm.
everybody. It's a
Mhm.
pin, so you can put it wherever it makes you happy. I had a
Right.
woman who, she always wears flamingos. She wanted a flamingo one to hold her sweater closed. So I
Okay.
made her a flamingo one. So, that's how everything starts. And so I also make these, I'll pull them out here. These are my boot bangles, I call them. So this is on the back of my dock. And they have just basically a little, like a loose leaf binder is what the
Yeah.
ring is,
Right.
that hangs on the tab. And so now I have people who use them as zipper pulls, who told me that they have big gauges in their ears and they use those through the gauges and use them as earrings. So like I said, you want to use it for whatever you want to use it for, be my guest. Just let me know, because I want to be able to tell other people
Right.
creative different ways to wear it.
And I'm guessing that also gives you ideas of what else to create. Because if there's a need
Absolutely.
to use a zipper or something for your ear, then maybe you can create something to that extent as well.
Exactly.
Definitely.
My biggest problem is I don't have enough space on my tables for everything. I mean, I make tea infusers with the little chain with charms on it. I make phone wristlets like this one on my phone.
Okay.
And I have no room for any of this stuff because I have so many other things. And like the boot bangles came out, and well, now I have to take something off. So Off comes the tea infusers. And depending on where I am, I may put those out and keep the boot charms back. So I'm always rotating products.
Exactly. Now, I know we talked about the products and they look amazing, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to get them. So, and they're not in Florida. So how can we get them?
So I tried the website thing. I tried the Etsy thing. Neither of them really worked. I've always worked retail pretty much my entire life until this current job. So I have the gift of gab, and I like to talk about my stuff, and I like to see what other people think of my stuff. So I really mostly sell at local events, craft shows, cons, farmers markets, that kind of thing. But what I do is I put everything I make on my Instagram page. And I tell everybody, if there's something you see that you have to have, snap a picture of it, send me a message, text me if you have my business card. And if I have already sold that piece, because pretty much everything I make is one of a kind, if I've already sold that piece, I will try and do something similar to it. And again, you like it, you buy it. You don't like it, there's never an obligation. Right. So again, Instagram is at Wearable Zen. And basically I put everything up there.
Perfect. Okay. And the link is going to be down there so you can reach Lisa. She's awesome. She's a wonderful person, which is my other question that I wanted to ask you. What has been the impact of all of this creativity and all of these creations that you have around the house in your life, in your personal life, in your family, etc.?
I mean, I guess everybody in my family pretty much is creative. So I'm just kind of riding the wave, I guess. You know, I've got the immediate family, the musicians. Then I have my brother who is a musician. Actually, he wrote a musical and also does T-shirts and has done comedy, stand-up comedy. So there's just so much creativity in my life that it was just a given that eventually it was going to happen somehow, somewhere. And honestly, when I first started doing these shows, it was myself. It was the kind of the end of my band president career for my kids' high school. And one of my girlfriends was one of the band moms too. And we're like, well, what are we going to do? We have no more marching band shows to go see. We have nothing to do. So we decided, let's create stuff and try and sell them. So we started doing that probably 10 or 11 years ago, I think. And my first show, I had a 4-foot table. You know, by the end of the year, I had a 6-foot table. By the end of 2 years, I had a 6-foot and a 4-foot. Now I've got 2 6-foot, 2 4-foot, and I shove everything I can in that 10 by 10 space I'm given at most of my events, because I can't stop making. It's my joy. I tell people it is honestly, everyone's like, you know, how do you use all those little beads and put stuff together? I mean, that is my stress relief. I come home from work and I can just sit down and let go. And I just love doing it.
And it shows. It really does. Not only are you getting you're getting something really unique, and you can tell how much work and love has been put into that piece that you're holding. So I love it. And thank you so much for sharing. And now there's more people that know about it. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the show with the 3 questions that I ask every guest that comes to the show. And I think that you kind of already know, but we'll tell the viewers. So the first one is always, what's your favorite movie?
So I think my favorite movie is probably Moulin Rouge. I don't see very many movies anymore. My husband is visually impaired, so it's really hard for us to see movies in the theater and not much easier at home. So I don't watch a lot of current movies. I am a HGTV Food Network kind of, because when I'm beating, I want to pay more attention to that than the actual television. So I don't do much of movies. So I would say Moulin Rouge.
Okay, that's a good movie. I love that movie. All right. What about? Yeah, it is. What about your favorite song? Do you have a favorite song?
I could not possibly pick a favorite song. I mean, I have so much music in my life, again, between the record store and my husband and my kids. My favorite band is probably U2. I love the B-52s. I love the Beatles. Um, God, I mean, you can't hold me to that. Sorry.
Well, I try.
Okay.
All right. And the last question, because This and That is sponsored by a channel that is a board game channel, Meeple Village. So I have to ask, what's your favorite board game?
Monopoly. I love Scrabble too. I love Yahtzee, but I like to play it by myself. Do you consider Yahtzee a board game?
Sure, as long as you play it on the table, I guess.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. And I mean, when my kids were little, our favorite game to play with the kids and all of their friends was Apples to Apples, which I
Okay.
haven't played in a while, but it was a great game.
It's fun. That one's definitely a fun one to play with
Yeah,
people that you, especially people you feel comfortable with, because it can be a
yeah,
lot of fun.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. I've enjoyed this immensely, and I hope to stay in touch. I will see you on May 4th at the ToyCon for sure. Thank you
Awesome.
guys for watching. Play more games.
Thanks.
Play to the rhythm of your